You know what? You're right. So I actually predicted that all this was going to happen with Nicki Minaj last summer. I'm going to show you guys the video in a second. I tried to post it on TikTok, but because I had to mention her husband, it got flagged and it never got uploaded to TikTok, but it is on YouTube. Last July, I talked about how she was entering a new cycle where she's going to start to try to flex her muscles in a way that's just going to make her look bad and not help her at all. Issues around emotions, motherhood, and women, power dynamics, a superiority complex, intimidation tactics, trying to be big and scary. This isn't honestly even entirely about her, it's more about the husband of hers. So let's get into it. So my general advice for Nicki Minaj that I posted in the middle of July of this year was that she shouldn't get involved in any combative or aggressive, petty beef right now. It's likely that there's maybe a little bit of an ego thing, and if it gets threatened enough to make her act out or try to prove herself, flex a little bit, it might not go entirely well for her. That things that might have worked in the past in an approach to everything, like her music, her personality, her relationships, might not be as sustainable as it once was. She has longer term transits going on that I think we'll see kind of culminate and unravel within the next year or two, even up until 2026, that have a lot to do with her emotions, her comfort zone, her relationships. It's kind of one foot in the old way of doing things and one foot in the new way of doing things. And there is this make or break opportunity where she can either have to face the consequences of refusing to change or kind of being very unstable and unpredictable, or she can face the success and the reward of doing things a different way, in a way that's going to be more sustainable and supportive to her, rather than what just gets the biggest trying to find the right way to explain this. It's less about doing the cool comeback that might be a band-aid on a bigger issue and having all of your stands be you're right, Nicki's right, and rather doing the adult correct way of handling something that might not look the coolest to everybody else, but is giving you better karma. It can be most problematic when it comes to trying to use your sexuality as a powerful approach. I would say if somebody's trick is to just always be sexy, this can be the point where that starts to not work anymore. It could also be an issue with needing to be number one, needing to be the most dominant one, needing to prove your strength or your dominance or your authority, and that kind of being ironically the biggest part of your downfall. Forcing her to confront outdated power dynamics, things regarding a superiority complex and intimidation tactics. It's the discomfort of having something to prove, but your karmic lessons pulling you in the opposite direction and being stop proving yourself and retwist, bitch, basically. And around July 22nd, and listen, I'll stop agreeing with Azealia Banks when she stops being right. Nicki does not understand that she's going to have to continuously be forced to acknowledge new rap girls and be used as a marketing pawn until she separates herself fully from any and all associations and relations with sex offenders. This is where my opinions come in, because I agree with everything that she's saying about her husband. And she's saying, I'm sorry, but any man that really loves you is not going to let you sit around on Insta Live and scream misinformed obscenities at the top of your lungs while his kid is in the other room, and that man was sent to make sure that you destroy yourself. I'm sorry, but there's no way that a woman can be so protective of men who abuse little girls if that behavior had not been normalized throughout her own childhood, or if she were not also a victim of the same abuse in such deep self-denial that she'd risk the prestige and safety of the world that she built for herself as refuge to protect what she doesn't want us to know, but can kind of tell what happened. I'm not going to speak for Nicki Minaj's experiences on that if and when it did happen, but her husband, who she has a child with, Kenny Petty, he was convicted of first-degree rape at knife point and did plead guilty and is a registered offender. I believe this was in 1995, making him about 28 years old, and the girl was 16. Nicki Minaj loves her husband, and it is not a new thing that people, whether it be in the public eye or just her fans, have been what is wrong with you? Please leave that man. You can do so much better. You can do so much richer. We don't get it. Why are you settling with this dude? And I personally, I've never had anything bad to say about Nicki Minaj until all of this happened. And as a fan, I'm confused. Someone told her that she was giving up her career by being in a relationship with this guy, and she basically said that her career was nothing in comparison to his love. Biggest thing that I agree with is making up with Cardi B. I have a lot to say about that, because those two girls have a lot more in common than they think they do, especially when it comes to their boyfriends. I have to rush my point here and finish up what I was saying, but basically I'm worried that there's going to be something in regards to the legal battle or something regarding her marriage or her husband instead of leaving, or, growing and evolving and changing and moving on. I think that she might double down, and I hope that that's not the case for her, because there's also so much potential in regards to like a new sound, new music, new career, new trajectory, new Nicki. Don't want her to lose those opportunities at the hand of trauma and always siding with predatory men. That was filmed in, I think, late August of 2023. So let me show you some more recent stuff. Nicki's birthday is in December, and because I am a fan, that's what you guys are forgetting. I was a fan. I said, happy birthday, Nicki Minaj. I will never forget downloading Itty Bitty Piggy on LimeWire and listening to it every day when I walked home from school in 7th grade. I spent my last $20 on this Barbie necklace from Claire's in 2010 to be like you. Please leave that fuck-ass husband of yours, because I care about her, unlike you guys. So after I wished her happy birthday, I wanted to look at her transits, and I said that I had no clue that Neptune is squaring Nicki Minaj's Venus, and that it can have a deceptive effect on love, money, and beauty, escaping reality via addiction, avoidance, lying to yourself, rose-colored glasses, loss of money, or fraud, theft, or scamming. There can also be infidelity, secrets, loneliness, or disappointment in love and romance. The last time that she experienced this transit was in the spring of 2023 when she was accused of heavily photoshopping her body. I think it was in the Red Ruby to Sleaze video, was the one that people were like, she's hiding and editing her body, being off of pills.
Okay. I love
I cannot find the full video of this, but this is like another example of Neptune Venus where it's just like, what's going on? Then in the middle of December, I was like, she's gonna have this spiral again, and it's not the last time that it's gonna happen. I wonder if it has something to do with Jay-Z and Beyonce, which we later have found out there is some drama there as well. Then just a few days ago, before all of this happened, I was saying that she's having this transit again, and she's attacking Celebrity, the TikTok user who posts about blind items, and the blind item that she posted was about Nicki Minaj being encouraged to go to rehab prior to her tour due to alleged drug use, and she was delusionally threatening this woman. A lot of people think that Nicki was under the impression that this woman was Ariana Grande. I'll tell you why.
Speaking of horrible people, this foreign-born former A-plus list rapper definitely needs rehab before she tries to do a tour. It will be awful. And again, this is allegedly Nicki Minaj.
These are all of the comments that she left on this poor woman's videos. Granted, Celebrity handled it beautifully with poise and grace and class, so I'm proud of her. It's just so irresponsible and dangerous to comment these things on a working class citizen's posts knowing how her fans are. She did get an account warning though. So this is her icon, and a lot of the comments that Nicki was leaving was about sleeping with married men and having a bald spot. She might have seen the icon and just thought that it was Ariana, which is like, again, not helping the allegations. So my conclusion with her current transits that I came to is that I said that her current behavior is a precursor to the challenges that will arise this spring. I did a general, like, vague time of months that I think will be, you know, a time to keep an eye on her, because a lot of people were asking me what I think for her this year. I'm gonna have to do a deeper dive, but I didn't realize that her tour dates align with her challenging transits, which makes me think that this is either going to get a lot worse in an attempt to maybe push ticket sales, that her performances are going to continue to be complete garbage for especially people who are paying money for them, or that the tour might get canceled or face a lot of complications on top of that. We also know now that Megan Thee Stallion is going on tour this summer. August into September are pretty big for Nicki as well, in a challenging way. Depending on her rising sign and the accuracy of her chart, I don't think that rehab would be out of the picture, but I think it would need to hit a rock bottom first. There's very clear indications of substance abuse I'm just saying what I'm seeing. I'm not saying that's the truth, allegedly. My biggest fear for Nicki Minaj is that after making fun of plenty of women that have been abused before, she's gonna live a self-fulfilling prophecy, a very sad story of her entire empire and her life's work going to the hands of her abusive husband, who, let's be real, is probably abusing her as well. She said she needs a muzzle, rehab, and a diary before she works herself into a conservatorship. And I hope that's not the case.